last video, I talked about Ladybug not really fully being in love with Cat Noir, and I got a few comments talking about how Adrienette was technically the same way. And by a few, I mean two. There were literally only two. You know what, 2 is enough for me to want to make this video. Anyway, so basically what the comments were saying specifically is that Adrienette is the same as Lady Noir because Adrien only fell in love with Marinette when her confident, more Ladybug side started to show through in season 5. But there's something extremely wrong with this sentence, and it's the wording. If there's one thing that I have been preaching from the very beginning of my channel, it's that saying they only fell in love with each other in season 4/5 is false. So, for example, saying that Ladybug fell for Cat Noir at the end of Strike Back is false, because that's not the moment that she quote-unquote fell for him. It's only one of the moments she fell more in love with him. She's been falling for him since the very beginning. And same thing for Adrienette. Adrien didn't fall for Marinette in season 5. He only realized the feelings that he's had for her since the beginning in season 5. Which obviously isn't something that's necessarily specifically related to this video. However, I do constantly hear people say that all the time, so I just thought it was something that I should talk about and bring up. But going on to what's more related to the topic of the video, which is them saying that Adrienette is just like Lady Noir. Quick little explanation for anyone that may be confused. In the video, what I said was the reason I believe that Ladybug was never fully in love with Cat Noir is because she never realized her feelings for Cat Noir until after he started to become more of his Adrien side. And that's why they say that Adrienette is the same, because Adrien only fell for Marinette when she started to become more of her Ladybug side. But here's kind of the problem. I think that it's incorrect to say that he didn't fall in love with her until he saw her confident side, because he's been falling in love with her since the beginning, like I mentioned earlier. This is literally the girl that he's been falling for throughout the seasons. And the reason I know that's who he's been falling for is because, well, for the most part, that side is the only one Adrien really ever saw because, well, that's the way she acted around him. I think the dorky side is what made him fall for her. The confidence is just what helped him realize his feelings for her. So, to give a quick example, in Puppeteer 2, Marinette kissed him, which I don't even want to bring up that scene because it's so extremely awkward, but she kissed him, and that is what made him realize, well, not necessarily realize, but he said himself that that's when his feelings for her really started to change. And so throughout season 4, you could very visibly tell that he was falling more in love with her and maybe even slowly, little by little, realizing he was in love with her. And once again, what's important to mention is that this is the girl that he was very visibly falling for. She was never just acting like Ladybug in those scenes in season 4. She was just being herself, and that's who he was, like I said, very visibly falling for. And then in Strike Back, obviously, she was very confident, you know, she didn't really struggle talking to him. She was like, you need to go talk to your father, blah, blah, blah. And then in Multiplication, because of what she had said, he actually got the courage to talk to his father. And that is what made him really realize his feelings for her. So yeah, like I said, that confident side is what made him realize his feelings for her, not fall for her. With Lady Noir, it took Cat Noir becoming more like Adrien in order for her to realize her feelings for him. But it didn't take her becoming more like Ladybug, the girl he was in love with before, in order for him to fall for her. All it took was herself. The last little thing that I wanted to mention about this is the end card for determination. I actually think it's funny because the end card for determination is actually what kind of more inspired me to make the last video that I made, and I completely forgot to talk about it, so I'm glad I'm making a part 2 because I can finally mention it. But anyway, the end card for me is so extremely telling just in itself, because we have Marinette looking at Cat Noir and Adrien looking at Marinette. And the Cat Noir that Marinette is looking at has this very heroic pose, and to be quite honest, if you were to look at the Cat Noir in that picture and then look at this guy, I feel like you honestly wouldn't think that they're the same person. And to be honest, I think that the pose that she's looking at isn't a very good representation of who Cat Noir really is. is. To me, when I look at that, I see more of Cat Noir's like heroic and more Adrien side, which clearly backs up my statement that Ladybug only ever realized her feelings and fell more in love with him because of his Adrien side. But take a look at Adrinette, because it's completely different. Marinette has this like weird, kind of dorky, it's cute, but like she has like kind of like a dorky pose, which obviously like clearly does not represent her more confident Ladybug side. Like that is representing just Marinette. And look at Adrien. You see how he's blushing? He looks like he's in love with her. And because of that, like I said, just this end card is so telling because it really gives us an insight of who exactly they fell for. Which once again backs up my statement that Adrien didn't just fall for her more confident Ladybug side. Some other differences between Lady Noir and Adrinette that I wanted to mention. During the time of the other person realizing their feelings, Cat Noir had changed to become more like Adrien, but Marinette hadn't changed to become more like Ladybug. So trying to say that Adrinette and Lady Noir are the same because Adrien didn't realize his feelings until she became more like Ladybug is false. If that was the case and she had changed to become more like Ladybug when he realized his feelings, then yes, of course I would have had a problem with Adrinette just like I did with Lady Noir. And also, unlike Lady Noir, Cat wasn't just in denial about his feelings for Ladybug. He didn't use Marinette as a way to run away from his feelings. He was in fact just getting over Ladybug, and during that time just so happened to realize his feelings for Marinette. But for Marinette, she was in denial. She was still in love with Adrien, but was just trying to convince herself that she wasn't in love. And just honestly used Cat Noir as a way to disregard her feelings to get over him. And like one other big thing that I mentioned in my Lady Noir video is that the timing of her realizing her feelings was very suspicious. And the fact that I found the timing very suspicious is one of the reasons why I believed that she wasn't truly in love with him. But for Adrinette, I honestly don't find the timing suspicious at all. Like for Cat Noir, I think Gladiator 2 was probably the first time that he ever started to get over Ladybug, and then in Kuroneko he definitely started to get over her, and then after that it was just like little by little he started to get more and more over Ladybug until Jubilation, where he had finally accepted that they weren't going to end up together and he could honestly move on. So basically what that tells us is that, well, for one, Cat Noir didn't get over Ladybug because of a technicality, but also that he got over Ladybug because he was just over Ladybug. Like, he had gotten over Ladybug before he ever even realized that he was in love with Marinette, which just goes to show us that him being in love with Marinette and realizing his feelings for her had nothing to do with Ladybug, like Marinette wanting to be with Cat Noir had almost everything to do with Adrien. I honestly think that if Adrien had realized that he was in love with Marinette and was trying to be with her in Gladiator, then I would have the same problem as I did with Lady Noir. Because in Gladiator, what Adrien was doing was just trying to get over her and like convince himself that he wasn't in love with anybody.
I need a boyfriend.
A boyfriend? Oh, no. I'm done with all that lovey-dovey stuff. I'm not in love with anyone and don't plan on it anytime soon.
And so if it was that point in time that he had realized his feelings, then obviously he would have been going after Marinette for the same reasons that Ladybug was going after Cat Noir, which is obviously a pretty big problem. So anyway, with all of that being said, we are finally back to the whole question and topic of this video. Do I think that Adrien is truly in love with Marinette? If it wasn't already obvious, yes, I do. Because Adrien fell in love with Marinette at the right time and for the right reasons. He loved her for herself, even though he does really like her confident side. That's not really like just the whole reason that he wanted to be with her or is in love with her. I just think that their relationship is honestly probably the best out of the love square at the moment, which some people may disagree with, but it's fine. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't anything wrong with the ship, because there are definitely some flaws. I mean, there's flaws with absolutely every ship. There are things that I don't necessarily love about Adrienette. All I'm saying is that I personally believe that Adrien is really fully actually in love with Marinette.